Vajiraman and Ravi has been still there even during my mains preparation, during both my attempts 2023-24. I started my preparation in 2018 here as a foundation batch student, and finally I'm again back here 6 years later. The life has come full circle finally. I post-graduated actually in year 2018. After that I came to Vajiraman Ravi, as the name has always been there, where I was completely clueless कि क्या करना है क्या नहीं. And that year I think ये join किया test series मैंने, and we had those regular feedback sessions.
GS
we had GS. I was enrolled for the GS thing. I had that regular feedback session after every copy that was checked. We had those mentoring sessions going on. So उससे पता चलता था what is wrong, where I should add on, what is the changes I need to make, etc. So it went like that, and I really scored good in GS. Last year also it was 435 marks in GS 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good afternoon everyone. My name is Shivansh Jagade, and I have secured All India rank 26 in this year's UPSC CSE 2024, and this is a kind of topper talk and strategy video which I will be doing, and this video I will be conducting in both English and Hindi, and hope this will help you in your preparation. And the idea of it is that I am not doing it in a coaching institute, because I have personally not joined any foundation course from any coaching institute, but I also taken help from all these like small courses like test series and all. So I thought that if I would be going on a coaching class, means a topper talk of a coaching class, then I won't be able to freely express myself. So here I'll be making a video and telling honestly and freely whatever I have means all my strategy and all my journey of this UPSC. So I'll give you a brief timeline of my preparation. And first of all, before the timeline, I would like to give you a brief introduction. I'm Shivansh, and I'm born and brought up in Pune. My schooling till my 10th has been, I was in DSK school, which was an ICSE board school from Pune. And in 11th and 12th, I was in Services Preparatory Institute, Aurangabad. And in the Services Preparatory Institute, it was a Maharashtra government institute. It's for preparation of the NDA exam, which is also conducted by UPSC. And after my 12th, I gave 2 attempts of UPSC NDA, and in which I was getting very good marks in the written exam, but I was not able to clear the SSB. And so after my 12th I completed my 12th in 2020, and after that COVID period started. So in that COVID period, what happened was that I was at my village, and after I failed my NDA interviews, means I had a backup thought of what would be the second plan. So my father told me that if in the written exam, like for example the written means in my both the attempts, in the written exam full marks is out of 900, I got 602 marks, and the AIR 1 in that year's attempt got 600 marks, and I had more marks in both my attempts than the All India rank 1. So my father told that if you are scoring these much marks in the written exam, then you try for civil services. So after that, in going period, means after 2-3 friends from SPI, we started preparing for civil services. And while preparing, I had no background, none of my father or my parents or any relatives were from any government service. So what we did was we watched a lot of topper talks, a lot of means from YouTube, from Telegram, and all those free resources which we get, and we compiled all those resources, and then we started our whole analysis. Like for topper talks, I would have watched 10 to 15 topper talks, and then I decided like what should be the optimum sources. Like if this topper is getting this much marks in that subject, then how would I if suppose GS1, then such topper is getting these many marks. So what is strategy followed? So I also copied and used that strategy, and a lot of things like I compiled and self-analysis. Me and my friend, we prepared together, and we also determined the strategy and what should be our approach to each and every subject and each and every aspect of this preparation. Right from prelims, if we say from prelims to mains, each essay, ethic, GS1, and also optional. So so my journey is most like rather than seeking help or guidance from one single source, I think I have myself and along with my friend, we have determined a strategy by looking at various other toppers and how they have succeeded, and then we have also copied and implemented by analyzing what is good for us and what is bad for us. So before that, I would like to tell you that before starting the preparation, you should know what are your strengths and weaknesses, and hence knowing those strengths and weaknesses helps you in your journey, like determining what is the best approach. Like if you look in the market, there are 100 ways, मतलब 100 लोग आपको 100 चीजें बताते हैं, तो फिर आपको ये डिसाइड करना कि आपके लिए क्या सही डायरेक्शन है, सही सोर्स है या सही अप्रोच है, वो यू हैव टू डिसाइड फॉर योर सेल्फ. एंड देन वी बिगन आवर जर्नी एंड सो एंड दैट. And my optional is mathematics, and I'll share you my mark sheet. So this is my mark sheet. I secured 123 in essay, which is good marks, because if you see in essay, like most of the toppers are scoring, means the general average marks are 90 to 100. In GS1 I have scored 92, GS2 I have scored 107, in GS3 I have 93 marks, GS4 I have good marks 120, and mathematics both I have got 282 marks, which are kind of more than average and quite decent marks in optional, because if you see optional also averages between 250 to 260, and in interview I have got 195 marks, which are kind of good, because in interview also averages 160 to 160 and 170. So I believe that my interview marks, optional, essay and ethics were the major contributing factor to my rank. And so I will first of all, so this strategy video, it would include like whatever very minute aspect of how I prepared of each and every subject, right from prelims to mains. I will discuss each and every subject, and also in that subject if there is any peculiarity which I did not do or which I did, and if there is unique aspect of the subject and to how to implement that in your preparation. So we'll discuss that, right from prelims, the mistakes which I did, roles of PYQ, and also the situation in prelims, like for in those 3 hours of prelims or in those 5 to 6 days of mains, what were my thoughts and how I approached it, and also the mistakes which I made throughout the journey, so that you won't be able to repeat the same mistakes. So we will first start by how I began my preparation. So my preparation began on March 2021 was the first month where I started reading Lakshmikant. Means for the whole month I read Lakshmikant, because in February I had went to one friend of mine who was also preparing for UPSC. Then he started by Lakshmikant, and in this month also I watched a lot of topper talks. Means I used to watch a lot of topper talks and strategy video throughout my journey, and also while doing that I used to analyze, like for if we say a lot of toppers, like from 2015 I used to watch a lot of topper talks. So March 2021 I began the journey, and my attempt was like till 20. I knew that in 2024 I was going to give my attempt, because in 2024 I would be turning minimum age for UPSC. Minimum age required for UPSC is 21 years of age, and I would be turning 21 years of age in 2024. So by that time I had like 3 years to prepare, and it was at that time, like I set a timeline on my mobile. Like it was when I started preparing, there were some 950 days roughly for me to prepare. So I had the target, like after 950 days I will be giving my 2024 attempt. So I had to broadly lay out my strategy for these 950 days. So I'll be sharing that now. And one more thing I have to tell you, that as I decided, because in India exam there is also maths paper, and I'm pretty good in maths. So I decided that my optional will be maths. So also as I was going to choose maths as optional, so I decided that I will be doing my graduation in BSc mathematics, and as BSc takes 3 years only, so I did my BSc mathematics from Ferguson College. And so from 2021 to 2023 I completed all the GS syllabus. 2021 to 2023 I completed all the GS syllabus, right from prelims and mains. All the standard books and all the important books are there. From this period I did that, and from June 2023 to December 2023, in this time period I completed maths optional, and the mains notes plus answer writing. So what I believe is that before mains you have to complete your before prelims you should be completed with your optional and mains, because if we see between prelims and mains there are only 80 to 90 days for you to prepare, and that days you cannot do your optional completely, or you cannot do mains although your mains notes, and also you cannot do answer writing in those days. So the thing is that you have to complete all your main syllabus, all the mains portion right before your prelims. So I decided that before December 2023 I should should complete maths optional and mains notes, all the essay and plus ethics plus essay, means notes, answer writing, and that. And in this from 21 to 2023 I did not get that much time because of also my graduation subjects, and which is why also in these books, in this period I completed all the standard books, and I did a few from Telegram. I did few courses of few subjects, Telegram plus YouTube. I did subjects of history. I did history, economy, polity and geography. And also in maths, in graduation some subjects overlap, so I decided after graduation I will fully complete my maths optional subjects, and so this was broadly my journey. And from December 23 to June 24, and attempt was on I think in June only, 16th or 17th June. So this I completely my 24 hours means like more whatever I used to study for prelims oriented only. So what I think that in this 6 months I completely dedicated myself to prelims, because as this was my first attempt and I did not I was not aware, because the first time you are giving prelims you have to dedicate most of the time for it, and you're not aware because the first time you are giving it there is anxiety. So for me my main forte was that I did not leave anything, means छोटी से छोटी या बड़ी से बड़ी चीज मैंने छोड़ी नहीं. And while preparation also I had that in mind that I have to give this one attempt only. And if you consider from June to June 23 to till my attempt I had a complete year, so I thought of that I will dedicate 24, means whatever I could I give my 100%. So I used to study in that period. I used to study like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 hours, means whatever depending on my mood and the targets which I have to meet. So I used to study for these many hours, because I used to think that if I study 8 or 10 hours in a day, then what I was going to for the rest of 4 to 5 hours. There was nothing I could do, and also I had my parents' support, and also financial condition was good. So I gave whatever I could in those period, and daily means minimum 12 to 13 hours I used to study. So this was broadly my timeline and my preparation. And now I will go into the very details of how I prepared for so first I'll start with prelims. So before that I'll just broadly, I hope everyone knows the nature of the exam. So first, before that I'll just like to tell the nature of the exam. So there are 3 stages. First is prelims, then you have the mains exam, and then you have interview. Interview is of 275 marks. Mains is I think 750 marks. And prelims we have 2 papers. CSAT paper is qualifying nature. CSAT is qualifying nature. And then the GS. GS is everything, history, geography, polity, economy and all. This qualifying nature you have to score 66 marks minimum in that. And then only this paper will get checked. you have to score 66 marks. And for mains you have, this is for those you who don't know, essay, your GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, and then you have 2 papers of your optional paper 1, and optional paper 2. So like this you have 7 papers of mains, and then you have the interview. So this is broadly the nature, and I'll now tell ki what so one of the most important subject is prelims is first history. So I'll broadly tell what are the sources which I used for history. So first source was for modern history. Modern history was Spectrum, NCERT, and from Telegram I had Neeraj Rao's notes of Vision IS, I think. Telegram notes of Vision IS. For modern history I did that. For modern history and ancient and medieval, I had again from Telegram I had Neeraj Rao. Then Lucent GK. Lucent GK is for only prelims oriented because it has all the facts and all. Lucent GK. And then my friend is there, his name is Prelims. So what he did, his optional is history. So he had read Upinder Singh, and from that he had made his own notes. He read whatever factual could come from prelims. He made his notes from Upinder Singh. I'll show you that. And again old NCERT, Upinder Singh plus old NCERT. And again for modern history I had read Bipan Chandra. Bipan Chandra is for understanding of history because it is just like a novel and it tells you properly about modern history, and there are also a few quotations in it which you can directly use. So first we'll understand the nature of history's PYQ. So if you consider PYQs of history in prelims, so if you consider modern history, so modern history PYQs are easy. Means easy in the sense that if a question is coming, then it is either very easy or it is very hard. And if you see last few years PYQ, then most of the modern history questions are on the easier side. So I read these many things, and if you consider, like and the main problem people find in studying history is that you won't be able to recall the facts that much. So my advice would be that whatever you study, means if you studying one thing, like I'll show you. So what I did was, as I told that modern history I used Spectrum, and the main problem with history is revising and remembering all the facts. So what I tried was making very history I'm talking about, making very crisp, comprehensive notes from which you could revise. And by crisp and comprehensive, if you could see here, means what I did was I had read the Spectrum once. I had read the Spectrum two and three times, and it is a very bulky book. So what I find after reading two to three times was that I was not able to recall all those things quickly. So I searched on Google and I searched like Spectrum summary if there are notes, and I found this right to be ISS, their synopsis of Spectrum. So they had compiled their shortlisted, means they had made Spectrum short into 100 pages, and in those 100 pages they had means put only those facts which would be coming in prelims. Like if you see, this is one page for reference I have brought. So see, if these are the important tribal moments, so it is Paria rebellion, and directly means you can directly revise for prelims from this. Like if this Paria of Rajmal, then this is Raja Jagannath who did it, and their symbol was Ho and Plug symbol. Then we have Ho and Munda uprising, Santal uprising. So what I found easy was that, convenient was that from one place I could revise all these things. So while revising it was very easy, like everything is front of you, and if you revise Spectrum that way, then what happens is that means you won't be able to compare and study like that. So this was broadly Spectrum, and also after reading I used to tear out pages from Spectrum and directly stick it in my notes, and you can also do that. And all those red things, if you see here, means they, while doing the summary, they did not take all the points which would be coming in prelims. So if you see parts like this, so this is what I added, means if I am reading NCERT, or if I am reading any other fact points from history. So if I found something about Santal rebellion, then I used to put it here. Like if there was some shifting agriculture and there was some compromise by Damaniko, it was called, and that rebellion was also called Hul. So that I put it here. Means all the things which you have to just put it in, dump all of it in one place. So see, if you are saying the first revolutionary activity, the revolutionary moment, so all the things which would be coming under that. So if you see all the rebellions in Maharashtra, and here the AMT Jackson's killing was not there, so I put it there. So all the things you have to remember, you have to put it in one place, make it very compiled, very comprehensive, crisp. And if I had to revise modern history, then I would be reading only these 100 pages, nothing apart from it. And this all the modern history. This is for mains. And see, this is loose ends. You have to initially, which are 80 pages till modern history, you have to read all of them. And suppose this is the page of loose ends, I will show you how to approach loose ends, because you have to just highlight whatever would be coming in prelims. So if this is the Indus Valley part of loose ends, and if you see, if this is Chaudharo Lothal, means all the things which could have come in prelims about Indus Valley City, about Lothal, I would have underlined, mentioned it. And while reading the next time, I used to just read only whatever is highlighted. So that used to save a lot of my time. So this is loose ends, initial 80 pages till the committees and all you have to read of loose ends. And also if you see here, I have done a lot of additions here myself. So while reading NCERT, I used to add whatever from Indus Valley. If I used to read somewhere, then I used to come and add it here. So like that, you have to make your notes very compiled, very crisp, and that would help in revising also. If this is Chola dynasty, then everything which I found elsewhere, I used to come and dump it here, and only this was the part where I used to revise my ancient India. So this is this part. So my friend, he had history optional. So what he did was, while reading it once, he also took out all the facts and figures which would be important for ancient history, very specific. Like if we see here, Somdeva had written Katha Sarita Sagar, Shemendra had written Brihat Katha Manjiri, Gunadde had written Brihat Katha. Then if this Bhagwati Pura Paristhiti, these are all the Jain text. Then Varanasi is of Varuna and Asi rivers. And also means this is a 100 pages PDF, and I revised everything, because if you see the prelims 100 questions, then all the difficult questions, if we consider, are from ancient. So that part I was sure that if something जो जो सवाल एंशियंट इंडिया से आएंगे अगर वो दूसरों को आ रहे तो मुझे भी आना चाहिए, और दूसरे को जो सवाल थोड़े से नहीं आ रहे वो मुझे तो आएंगे. तो that was my approach. So in ancient India I did not leave that saying is that no stone unturned. So I used to do everything means from my side whatever I could do, and also there are from previously from Upinder Singh few questions and come, so that is why we chose this. And so all these things like if you see like if this book is there, Kamandaka is written by Niti Sara, Dandin has written Dasaka Kumara Charitra, or Bana Bhatta has written Kadambari. Vijigishu means that he is a would-be conqueror. So all these things, basic things, and also there was in this notes only, means I had revised everything and I put a lot of efforts especially towards ancient India, ancient medieval art and culture and history, because I believe that most of the people neglect history. So if I did history properly, then I could solve those 2-3 questions extra and get those questions right, and which is exactly what happened, because in prelims there was one question from Bhasha, and also there was one Buddhist question of Buddhism regarding if Gautam Buddha is called Tathagata, and those questions that I got those questions right, and it was only because I did history so deeply. All these things like if this is again the compilation of all my ancient Indian notes, whatever from prelims could come, I used to come and dump it here. So and this map is from NCERT. So whatever, like if there was a question from Dhanya Kataka, I think see, there was this question in this prelim only, there was this question about Chandraketu Gad. Where was this? Like if I think it was given in Odisha, it is there, but I remembered that I had marked Chandraketu and it was in some Ganga's delta, so there was no chance that it could be in Odisha. And also this question, if you see Dhanya Kataka, was here only. So all these maps are also very important in history, especially if they told you to arrange, or if they told, like they asked this question which are very Chandraketu Gad, or if you see this in Indus Valley civilization. So in Indus Valley, like where are all the important sites, Aladino, Balakot is on coast or not. So very detailed, like where is Cholistan, Nageshwar, they missed Nageshwar here. And also this was all the important Buddhist sites, like if I also went into deeply like Shravasti is on which river's coast, Ayodhya, Kosla, where is Virata, means what their north-south location, west to east, east to west. So all those deeply I went in all of those. So these are the and also this is important table from NCERT, like of Bhakti, Jaini, all the time periods where there are also one important means one theme is that they ask what are the contemporaries, like of if Jnanadeva, Muktibai, are they contemporaries of each other or not. So that was it. And also from Upinder Singh only these maps about ancient sites. Let me show you a proper one. Like if see where are the Pritibhitakas, where were they, Kadambas where were there, Vishnu Kundins where were, Nalas, Vatakatas where were there, where was Nandi Vardhana, where were Vatsa Gulma. So all those things while revising also I was very means I felt that this is so many, why I am doing this, or means all this is not going to come. So in prelims you have to remember that 99.5% of the things which you are going to read, they are not going to come in prelims. You have to know that before reading that. And also prelims is very risky, it is very gambling type nature. So if you, the mindset should be that जो सबको आ रहा है वो मुझे तो आना ही चाहिए, और जो थोड़ा सा जो सबको नहीं आ रहा वो भी मुझे आना चाहिए. तो ऐसे that feeling, and if you, this was my efforts and whatever I studied, it was so much that I went with confidence, that means my confidence was means my efforts and whatever comprehensive notes and all, so that gave me confidence right just before the day of prelims, that I've studied this much, and if I've studied this much, and then I hope that I would be getting most of the questions right. And so this was like from also Upinder Singh, all the important keywords, like if you see there was one question from Ashrafa, or what this is Buddhist I think. So Buddha's Patiti Vachan, what does Ajiva means, what does Shankara means, what does Salyatana means. Salyatana means six senses. What does ignorance means? Ajiva means ignorance. Sometimes I'd seen like in CDS they'd ask the question like what does Ashrava or Shrava means. I think that was Jainism. So all those things like Sanna, the four elements of Nama along with Rupa, so Panchakhandaka. So all those things, all those writers or their concepts. So that is also important in ancient India. I'm talking about I'm being very specific to prelims. And the thing with history, if you be the way of studying history is that primary is revision and keep your notes very short. And one more important thing which came to my mind during preparation was that while you study history, like while revising history, me and my friend decided that we will on call, means he used to live away from me. So on call, we'll ask each other question, we'll close the loose ends book and then we'll ask that who is the writer of that, who is the writer of that. So we tried that first, but then we realized that in prelims, the nature of prelims is that they'll be giving you a statement like this and you have to judge that whether this statement is right or wrong. You don't have to recall anything. It is not a question and answer type that who is the writer of this book and you have to write the answer. So the nature of it is not that, but here it is that you have to guess the statement whether it is right or wrong. So what we thought that instead of remembering everything, if we just means look at it more, like if we revise it more and if we just it is called in Marathi that doya khalna ghalano. If we just look at it more times, if we revise and also write in rough like while preparing for it, so then it will get stick into our mind. And if statement comes like this book is written by that, then we will find something odd or fishy about it. If it is right, then there won't be any problem. But if it is wrong, then our eye will catch it and we'll say no, there is something wrong with this statement. And also you have to revise it a lot of times. So this is history. And history, people are afraid, and you don't have to be, because whatever questions, they are very tough questions, nobody will be able to get it. So you have to just be sure that you are doing what is the basic requirement of history. And then we come to geography. So the basics, my sources of geography were primary to NCERT, then from Telegram I did Rishikesh Dudat. Notes. Then GC Leong. Then there was a topper whose name was Saksham Goel. I use his notes for maps plus few geography notes. I'll show you his notes. And again physical maps, I'll also show you those physical maps. And if you see in history, in geography, if you see world geography, then all those physical maps. Then also one concept of places in news. So I'll also show you this compilation. And if you see PYQs of geography, then they are very conceptual nature. If you see prelims, then geography are very conceptual nature. If there is a theory or concept, so you have to make sure that you make your conceptual understanding very strong. And this, what my main thing was, this Telegram Rishikesh Dudat notes. So if any time I had to revise geography notes, I would be doing it from here. So I used to dump everything here. Like if I read GC Long, then I used to dump it here. Then this Saksham Goel notes, it's for very prelim specific. It was very prelim specific. And this physical maps, I did it on my own. And these were places in news. It was compiled by my friend and me. It was compiled by my friend and me. And especially in geography, if there are two parts, I think one is theory and then the second part is the location one. The questions of prelims I am being specific with. there is theory and there is location. Theories you can get your theory right with NCERTs and all, but for locations and mapping you have to take a lot of efforts, because there are a lot of things which could be asked, like national parks, Ramsar sites and all. So I'll be showing you one to one, like one by one sources which I used. So see this geography, and while NCERT, so while reading NCERT, I also used to make sure that in the first reading itself, I'll be highlighting the things which would be important for me. Like if I'm reading NCERT the second time, then I used to only read the highlighted part and not the entire book. So that used to save a lot of time. And you have to also remember one thing during your preparation is that if the time of revision for subsequent reading, it should get shorter and shorter. Like if you are reading Lakshmikant, then the first time you read Lakshmikant, you are taking 30 days to read it for the first reading. Then for the second reading, the 30 days should come down to 20 days, because you already know a few things, the 30 days, and then max 10 days. So during subsequent reading, you have to make sure that you have to take lesser and less time while reading the same things. And now Rushikesh Dudar's notes were typical coaching notes. If you go in any institute, they'll be giving you the same like whatever staple coaching material. I also think that if you could if you go to any coaching, they give you the same basic material, and any foundation course if you join, means the foundation course alone, it is not going to help you to clear UPSC. Foundation course plus your value addition into it, and your value addition into it, only if you value add, and if you if you fill in the blanks, or if you do more, then only with your value addition you will be clearing UPSC. So foundation course alone won't be helping it. So my geography notes were like typical foundation course notes of Rushikesh Dudar's, and I used to add my own inputs. If I reading NCERT or if any other books or on YouTube I watch something, then I used to add it in that relevant section of Rushikesh Dudar. And I'll show you how I did the mapping portion. So these are the notes of Saksham Goel. I found it from Telegram. Like me and my friend used to look at all the different sources from all the different toppers, and we find this very good PDF. And in that he himself had compiled from Amit Garg. So in that, see if we look at this table of Indus River system. So in that Indus River system, we had covered everything. Like if this is the river Indus, then the dams on Indus, this source where is Manasovar Glacier, Bokarchu, wildlife, what are the important species in it, and if there is other relevant features according to it. And here means this is the reference I used to plot I draw my own drawings of it. I will show you my Indus River system drawings. So see, this is, I don't think it would be that much clear. This is my Indus River system. It is why my handwriting is also already little bit short. So if you see here, all the tributaries like Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Bias, and all whatever small things, like where is Amritsar, where is Lahore, where is Kabul river comes from there, Swat river join here near Atak, then Chashma Dam, Tarbela Dam, and whatever from while reading NCERT also you have to extract whatever could come in prelims. So this used to be my river system ka map. And if you see, then this is the Ganga river system. Ganga river system is quite complex. So I ensured that I will not be missing any single point. Like if there is Matatila Dam, if there is Gharial, this Kane, what are the right bank tributaries, left bank tributaries. And if you see Ganga, there are very important cities on Ganga. Kanpur is there, Allahabad, Varanasi, on where the confluence of which river is which city, where is Patna. Then it meets at Chhapra, it meets at Sompur. Koshi is there, Buri Gandak is there, and right now in 2024 there was exact question like we have to arrange Gomti, Gagra, Gandak, Koshi according from west to east. So you have to also do your own mapping, do your own. This is this is Godavari river system, and this is Krishna's. And also while mapping also, so this was why my one river, the rest of the small tributaries map I had made. Now see here, this is Narmada and all those small tributaries. In Goa, if you see Mandvi, Kali Nadi is there, plus the small rivers in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and if you see there Brahmani, Baitarni, Subarnarekha, and all those small rivers. Plus there is Omkareshwar, Indra Sagar. Means you have to make sure that you do not miss any single point from it. And these are, plus this is the mountain passes. This is quite complex because I was the only one who was reading it, so you might find it complex. This there is glaciers is there, again there is mountain ranges, all the mountain passes is there, so all those things. Plus then this is the map of all the mountain ranges, sorry, this is all the important mountains in all over India. Like if you see, there is this all those ranges, and if you see especially in the southern India, there are many ranges like Nannamala, Seshachalam, Shevaroy, Panchamalai, Sirumalai, Vishnushad, Velikonda, and all those Jinganath Peak, and all those very small things. So you have to make your preparation very specific and very comprehensive. And these are Ramsar sites. So like all this, there are now I think 90 Ramsar sites. So you have to make sure that I was aware of all the 85 Ramsar sites, like where each one was there. I used to recollect and do it like that. Plus Biosphere Reserve and all those. I'll be making my own Telegram channel. I'll be putting all my notes there, so you will get it there. Elephant reserves and all those things. So this is just I'll give you a very short glimpse of what was in Places in News. So we used to read Vision's monthly magazine. So in that monthly magazine, all the small from Israel, there is one Haifa port I think is there. From Lebanon, Estonia, India has opened its mission in. So where is that? What is that? And all the location of each and every country there. So we used to, like in Iran there is Kurdish conflict, in Georgia there is Ossetian conflict, where is Lachin corridor. So all those small things which you read in current affairs, so you have to do that. And if that time the Myanmar's coup was very popular, so in that, where is this Bamar group, where is Shan, where is Rohingya group, where is Mon, where is Kokang Chinese. So all the things very short and very detailed way. And also if you see all the map of, if this is Pantanal wetland of Brazil, so what are the countries which comes under it. So all those things, whatever current affairs comes from the Places in News, you have to make sure to do all the neighboring countries, whatever is surrounding it. Like if the Syrian crisis was going on there, so where is Latakia port, where is Neman air base, where is Tartus, what are the neighboring countries of Syria, and all those things, very minute things you have to do. Plus this, at that time there was this IMEC, in India, Middle East, European corridor. So what are the important ports there, what are the important cities which should be going through, like Jordan is part of it or not. So all the very basic and minute things you have to do. So all this was there. I'll be uploading this. Like this Ukraine conflict was there. So where is Sevastopol, where is Odessa, where is Azov Sea. So very minutely you have to do everything. And I'll also show you and while doing world map also, means if we see this, means this is my atlas ka photograph. So you have to do Africa very carefully, and all the, means at that time I knew that each and every country, what are their bordering countries. Like if we see at this, I had made this sort of milestone not, but something to remember to, like Libya and Sudan always border each other, or this Central African Republic and Sudan always border each other, and all those minute things. Like here if you see, there is this lake, Adar Lake, or I don't know what, I'm not able to recall it right now, or this star countries, or I think there is a union, or it is called something, and all those countries come under this. All those minute things you have to do, right, put it in atlas only. Like if there is this is I think the refugee camp, Adar was one refugee camp. Then there is Pungnika, So these are all the refugee camps here: Dabab, Hagadega, Ifo, and Kyaka, Kyuka, I think Kyuka refugee camps. Then BD refugee camp, Kakuba refugee camp. So all those things you have to do in Atlas only. So you have to also do Atlas very carefully. Especially Europe, if you see, there was one question in this year's paper, like what were the neighboring countries of North Sea. So I did all the map very properly. So I got that question very easily. So you have to do mapping very carefully, world maps, where each and every country is. So that is very important. Mapping helps a lot. And if you consider geography, it is generally very easy for prelims, especially. Means the questions which you do in geography, they are very doable and they are not very tough and all. And if we consider polity, so now I will take polity. So polity, if you see, then there is Lakshmikant, and then Constitution of India. Means I did not read entire Constitution of India, but there comes a summary PDF on Google. If you search Constitution summary, it will come. I'll also show you that. Lakshmikant is like the holy grail, the holy book of UPSC, because Lakshmikant is very prelims oriented. It is entirely prelims oriented. And it is already a note. Means I have seen people taking notes from Lakshmikant. Means it is also you can do, but taking very minute notes. Like I know a friend like who, while taking notes from Lakshmikant, they also took notes of if there is a president chapter. And that chapter, he listed all the president who stood against him and by how many votes he won. So you don't have to go in that much depth. You have to only take out and highlight whatever prelims oriented notes or whatever it is there in Lakshmikant. So you have to do Lakshmikant everything. Along from Lakshmikant, you have to also remember you have to do appendix properly. And in that appendix, I think the state list, union list, state and union list, like whatever. In 2024 there was one question about what I think the interstate quarantine comes under state or union list. Then there is important articles, then amendments, and order of precedence. This is, you have to do this much from appendix. And along with appendix also, you have to after I think the Niti Aayog, the non-constitutional bodies, you don't need to do that much part, because it's very political and it is not important for UPSC, except the electoral reforms, anti-defection law. These are the very few topics like in the later part which you have to do. Electoral reforms plus anti-defection. Electoral reforms and anti-defection law. These are the two things which you have to do from polity. And from polity, I think that from Lakshmikant in 2024 there are very factual questions. So if you could, like in Marathi there is, you have to chart on bosun kadaychi. So you have to do everything from very minute details you have to do from Lakshmikant. So that is there. You have to do appendix. I have told from polity is very basic. You have to just read it. You have to revise it many times. Like I have read Lakshmikant from 7 to 8 times. So like everything was burnt into my brain. So you have to read Lakshmikant very properly. So that is all about Lakshmikant and polity with respect to prelims. Then I'll be coming to economy. Economy, if you see the paper, it is very conceptual in nature, and whatever factual comes, it comes from current affairs. Whatever factual comes, it comes from current affairs. And for conceptual, I have read NCERT. Then I have read Mrunal notes. But Mrunal notes I have read only I would have read only twice. Like as I said, like in graduation I used to read all of standard books, so I have read Mural notes twice, but after that I found that they were too much, and it is like if you it's instead of 1,000 pages, you could also do the same things from other resources, but in a lesser time. So after that I gave up Mural notes. Only I think for agriculture I read it, agriculture, and that human resources pillar I read Mrunal. Agriculture and human resources I read Mrunal. And then for prelims, I did that 450 MCQs of Vivek Singh. MCQs of Vivek Singh. Then I did, there was one file of QRM of Vision IS. Means it had very basic concepts of economy, whatever could come in prelims. So there was that QRM of Vision IS. And then there was Sudarshan Loda's Target UPSC. Sudarshan Loda Target UPSC notes. Sudarshan Loda's Target UPSC notes on economy. So they were just very brief notes about all the important concepts of economics. And economics, if you see, it comes very easy, like whatever topic in 2024 attempt also, if you see. And previously also, whatever question comes from economics are very conceptual. And if your concepts are strong and if your theory is strong, then you could solve all the economic problems. And whatever factual comes, it means you would be able to do it from current affairs. So this is about economy. And if you come on environment, if you see environment and science and tech. So for environment I had done Shivansh Chaudhary. Notes. For science and tech also I had read his notes. Shivansh sir notes. And environment I had also done that Sudarshan Loda's notes. And these two means whatever the Shivansh Chaudhary's notes are pretty big, so I just read them once and I extracted all which would be coming for prelims. Same for science and tech. Science and tech, his earlier PPTs used to there, so I just revised those PPTs of environment and science and tech of his. And science and tech of Shivansh Chaudhary plus I used to read Vision IS monthly magazine. So I used to read Vision IS monthly magazine, and for environment I used to do Shivansh Chaudhary's notes and Sudarshan Loda's notes. So what I think is that if you consider especially environment and science and tech, then the difficult questions no one would be able to getting it. Like if there was this World Toilet Day, like International Toilet Organization, nobody would have read about it. But if you just read all the basics and whatever least you could do, then you would be able to solve the very simple or very basic question which comes in both environment and science and tech. And you have to remember one thing, that environment and science and tech, it is very big, it is very vast, and you have to also remember where to limit yourself and not do too much or be too excessive while doing it. Like I suggest now, if anyone has to do environment, one can read PMF IAS environment notes. One can do PMF IAS environment notes, where in my book, I think it is a book which is a very good book. And from that also you have to do selective reading, because in environment there are international laws, international organization, Ramsar Park, national parks, elephant reserves. So all that becomes very important. So for environment and science and tech, and I read this, and you have to just remember, you don't have to go very deep into it. Just do whatever basic you could do, and just don't do hair splitting in it and all. So now we are very important is current affairs. For current affairs, I used to read Vision monthly magazine. Current affairs, I used to read Vision monthly magazine, and then Yojana and Kurukshetra. Means that time I did not know that how much like before exam, how many months magazine you have to read. So that time I read for 15 months magazine, which was excessive and which was a mistake, a very big mistake. 15 months, like from Jan 2023, I read Jan, February, March to March 2024. So these many magazines I read, which is not at all necessary. You have to read just from June 2023. I should have read June 2023 to March 2024. This is the time periods magazine which you have to read. This is a mistake I did, and this is what. And Yojana and Kurukshetra, I also read 15 months Yojana and Kurukshetra, which was also a mistake. And I'll show you how I used to read Vision's monthly magazine and what exact mistake I did while reading Yojana and Kurukshetra. So while I used to read each and every magazine, so I used to make good use of highlighter. So if you see here, there is Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita 2023. So whatever you would be useful for prelims, I used to highlight it in red. So if this is Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita and it replaces the Indian Penal Code 1860s, and if it produced draft of Indian Penal 1837. So whatever was important in prelims, I used to highlight it in red. If you see the key, so for the second and third reading, I used to only read whatever is highlighted in red. So if we see the constitutional provision for appointment of election commissioner under Article 324, plus there is lack of parity in removal of CEC and EC. So these are the things which would be coming in prelims. So whatever prelims oriented is there, I used to highlight it in red, like the president granted assent to press and register periodical 2023. So next time I only used to read the red highlighted, and that used to save a lot of my time, and which will be also saving a lot of your time also. And this was, see, if there is maritime, IMO adopted the International Convention of Safety of Life, SOLAS Convention. Then what is SOLAS Convention? So all those things you have to remember that in subsequent revisions you don't have to take the same time. You don't have to read everything in every revision. So you have to remember, like if the maritime cooperation. So if we see here, then this India and Kenya are both members of IORA. Then what are the countries of IORA? So you have to just keep in that in your back of the mind. So while reading Yojana and Kurukshetra, means first of all there was no need absolutely to read them, but as like it was my first attempt and I did not want to leave no stone unturned and give my 100%. So me and my friend decided to read Yojana and Kurukshetra. So I would have read like 30 magazines. And in my second, after my third revision, I realized that revising all the magazines, 30 magazines, all means right from one after another, it was taking a lot of my time. So after that, I decided that I would extract whatever would be coming what will be coming in prelims from the Yojana and Kurukshetra, then make a separate PDF of it, and I'll show you that PDF now. If you see, this is the credit cooperative society, then which is the top state in it. Like if Maharashtra has the most cooperative societies, then there is Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, then the descending order. Plus then there is how many states, if there are districts here, then what is the state with most districts, like UP has 75 districts, MP has 53, Rajasthan 50. So all those small things. Plus then here we have millets. Like if we see nutrition from millets, then we have niacin, then there is zinc fiber. It can also very helpful in PCOD. Then what is PCOD? It is polycystic ovary syndrome, and it is again, what is PCOD? It is more male sex hormone, androgen something is produced. So all those things, like I compiled, this is some 13 to 14 pages PDF. So all the things which could have come from Yojana and Kurukshetra, I used to put it here. Like if this is the energy share of everything, like if like fossil fuel is that time at 57.7%, then there is hydro energy is 11%, then wind energy is 10%. So all the things which could come from prelims, I extracted all from it. So while for revising Yojana and Kurukshetra next time, my job was very easy. I had to revise only these 13 to 14 pages. So this is one very important thing you have to remember, is that you have to, the time for revision should get, with subsequent revisions, it should get less and less. Mistakes I made during prelims. So reading things once, means if you are going to read something once, then don't read it. And only if you are going, if you know that if you're reading something and you are going to read it for 4 to 5 times and you're going to revise it later, only those things you have to read, because prelims is a game of revision, and the more you revise, the more it gets settled in your brain. So if you are going to read anything, if you are going to read only once, then don't read it. Like suppose if there is NCERT, like if you are reading NCERT or book, like for history I read for history, for ancient history I read the new NCERTs. So in that, just I showed you earlier, I took out all the maps, I read it only once, but while reading it once, I extracted all the things which would be coming in prelims, or all the quotations which I could use in mains. So if you are reading it once only, then you have to make sure you extract or highlight whatever. Extract means highlight. If you are highlighting, then means you have to read it again. If you are reading it once, extract whatever pre or means oriented, for the reason why you are reading it, you have to extract that. And reading things once, and then like later revisions, like I had set the target that I would revise everything at least 5 to 6 times, but that was not possible because I had so many things to do. So that was like one of my mistakes. Like I did not put adequate time for later revisions. Like it was like more like, I am very ambitious, so I set a lot of targets, but I was not able to complete them. So instead of that, what you should do is that set what is possible for you and just focus on that. And the third is that lesser mocks. Means what I used to do is that I had joined for mocks, for prelims mocks. I think there is no need to join any test series. Because on Telegram you get means all the material available. So if you are even if you are joining any test series, what I feel is that, like I had joined Vision Abhyas. And it was for 1,000 rupees, and it had 3 tests. Means I had only joined it because you have to give it offline and you will get somewhat feel of what it is to appear for prelims. So I joined Vision Abhyas. I gave only 1 test, but then I did not give the other 2 because the quality of the paper was not that good. Like I myself have studied from Vision's monthly magazine, but in that paper means all the content was from their own notes, from their own monthly magazines. So what I found is that and in that test I scored some 55 marks, I think. And the quality of paper was not that good. So then I decided that I won't be appearing the next test. And what I used to do is that I had joined a reading room, so I used to go and study there. So I used to give my prelims mocks there only, and last time I think Anubhav tests were good, and this time I think their quality has deteriorated. So I gave 4 to 5 Anubhav test, and in that I used to score like above 100 in means around 100 in those tests. So what I found means the mistake was what I was talking about was that the mistake was that I gave only 4 to 5 full length mocks, and in those mocks I used to give it very casually, like while sitting in the reading room. If my first reading, I used to complete the paper in 1.5 hours. So that was a mistake. And what happened in real prelims time was that the real prelims is that the 2 hours are very quick, means the 2 hours passes in a blink of an eye. So I was not able to simulate that. Like in the first hour I was only able to complete 35 questions. So that was that challenge. I felt like if I would have given more seriously timed mocks, I would have means those 2 hours wouldn't be that much challenging for me. So giving lesser mocks was one of my mistakes. And again reading things once. I have read, I don't remember now, but I've read a lot of things. Like I have read for Indian economy, I have read Ramesh Singh. Then I have read for ethics, I read lexicon. Then I have read for ethics only lexicon for ethics. For ethics I read Lukman IS notes. Then again for Mrunal's notes. Then again there were a lot of things I am not able to recall right now, but all those things that time I had spent a lot of time because I had that much time, but I did not realize that I won't be touching these things afterwards, like for like actually during the prepare, like just before prelims or mains. I did not use anything of it. So all the time spent while reading this means it was obviously wasted. So don't waste your time, because everyone has kind of the same time and you won't be getting that time again. For CSAT, it was not that much challenging for me, but while giving the prelims paper, I realized that was a mistake. Like even my maths optional was there, but the nature of questions which come in CSAT are that they are very typical. So if there is no familiarity, then you won't be able to solve those questions during that 2 hours. Like literally means till it was 4 o'clock, the prelims CSAT paper started at 2:30. By means for first prelims paper started at 2:30. The first like till 3:30 I completed comprehension. Like 3:15 I think. 3:15 I completed comprehension, and till 4 o'clock I was able to solve only 10 questions. I think 15 questions from maths, from the maths section. So this was I got very panicked, and मैं मेरा पसीना फूट गया था 4 बजे तक. So it was because I did not do anything CSAT before. So whatever your background, you have to focus on CSAT, because I have seen many people which have failed the prelims because of CSAT. So even if maths background or any arts background, if you feel confident, still you have to prepare something or the other for CSAT, because one more thing which I have realized over UPSC, it is all about familiarity. The more you are familiar with those questions or those type of questions during means before, the more you do it before, the more easier you are going to find it. The more easier it will get during those 2 hours. So it is all about familiarity, and if there is something new which comes during that 2 hours, it is very difficult to handle. So the more you are familiar with all the types of questions, with everything, then it gets very easier during that time. And what I feel about prelims is that if you see those 2 hours, means if you are preparing for 1 year, this is your entire 1 year time, and this is those 2 hours, and this is those 2 hours. And I think is that this is equally important. 50% important is this, and 50% is what you study in that 1 year. Because if you again see one thing which I have realized is that suppose this year's cutoff was 87, then all the people who study and fail, yeah, this is cutoff 87 and this is suppose 70 marks. So majority of the people who, these are the people who study and seriously study and fail, is in that 75 to 87 marks range. So if you have to cross the cutoff, and even if your 3 to 4 questions which you do and which are wrong, and if they convert to right, then you get additional 10 marks. So if those 3 to 4 questions are 50 questions, so whatever these 3 to 4 questions which you do, that is very important in those 2 hours. And those silly mistakes which you do, and if suppose you do not do those 2 to 3 mistakes in those 2 hours, then you will be able to clear the cutoff and come here. So what I say is that it is very important those 2 hours, and those silly mistakes, those 3 to 4 questions, silly mistakes are very unacceptable. Like I am saying that unacceptable, but I myself made a lot of mistakes, like very basic, very silly mistake. You would be shocked that I made those mistakes. Like there was one question about right to privacy. Right to privacy comes under Article 9. I was confused between Article 19 and Article 19 and Article 21. But you would be shocked that in that moment I did the correct option as Article 19. Like nobody would be doing this basic mistake. Even if like for the 2 to 3 years before exam, if you ask me that what is the answer to this, I'll always pick Article 21. There was one silly mistake which I did. Then again, or in sometimes means in all the questions, like 1 to all of the above was in C. Like most generally all of the above is in D option, but in that question all of the above was in C, and in D there was 1, 2, 3. And that moment the answer was all of the above, and I put the right option as D. And there was again one Polity's question in which I did not read not in the statement. Like there was not, but I did not neglected it. So these are if I would have failed, then I would have felt very bad, because all the silly mistakes would have failed me. So you have to remember that you don't have to make silly mistakes, and they're very unacceptable. And so try to avoid the silly mistake, and those 2 hours your mind should be very composed, and you should not be your mind should be very composed. And in those 2 hours you have to just be very careful about what you think. And I think it is very difficult. I have also been in that situation, but you have to control your thoughts. You have to just focus on each and every question. What you do, what I find helpful is that don't think about the entire paper. Just think about that particular question. Like if you are question number 1, then I am going to only deal about this, no matter how the other questions went. Even if 10 questions I went, it was very difficult, but 11 question I have to take questions as itself. Like not any, you have to take the question itself. Don't think about anything else, and just approach like one question after another. Don't think about the entire paper. So that helped me. And again, I think that one more important, the role of PYQs. Like if we see that a lot of in the market, the situation is that PYQs are very important. Indeed they are important, but they are not important to the extent that means I had myself, me and my friend, we had joined a course called Power of PYQ by I think Arjuna S. Means I think after doing that course, after doing everything what was told, I felt it was very stupid to like in what was told there was in 2012, suppose there was a question and there was C option, and this wrong option you could relate that to 23's if there are A statement. In that statement, then you could, there was linkage here, linkage in this and this, and you could, if you do all the PYQs properly, if you analyze all the wrong options, if you analyze all the correct options, then you'll be able to solve this 2023 question. But what I feel is that while if suppose I would be giving suppose अगर मैं 2023 का अटेम्प्ट दे रहा हूँ और 2 साल में और वो दो घंटों में नहीं पता चलता कि अरे हाँ ये 2012 का ये क्वेश्चन है और ऐसा ऐसा लिंकेज है, वो दो घंटों में किसी को नहीं पता चल, nobody knows in that 2 hours की what is the linkage. If you take the paper after 2-3 days, then anybody can make linkage with any other correct or wrong option from previous years. So don't go into that much deep and detail about PYQs. So what I think the role of PYQs in prelims is very limited, and it's limited in the sense that you should know what depth the UPSC goes, depth of subject, and familiarity with questions, means familiarity with question setting. I mean, obviously you have to do all the means you have to go through once from 2012. It is means you could do all the PYQs from 2011, and before the PY, and you have to don't go, just be careful about how much depth and how much you analyze PYQs. Just read them, familiarity, because UPSC has a nature of asking statements, like they have a particular way of framing the sentences, so you get familiarized with that. So only that purpose, PYQ should only serve this purpose and nothing else. And after the prelims, after result comes, don't waste those 10 to 15 days like till the result comes. Means I suffered because of it, like for my was borderline case, so I suffered because of, don't waste those 10 to 15 days. Right after, if you are able to, like if you are even on borderline, just study in those 10 to 15 days. And again, about attempts, I generally in prelims, I attempted 90 questions. Means it was my strategy, like I knew that 30 questions would be going wrong, like 30 would be wrong, and generally 60 were right. Even in mocks, this was my pattern, and this was, so my score was also approximately 100, around 100 marks, and it was because I also cleared forest service. So I think that now I don't know my marks because forest results are yet to come. So around, generally this was like 60-30 pattern I used to follow. So generally that got successfully implemented during prelims also. And apart from silly mistakes, so don't do those silly mistakes, and those 2 hours are very equally important, and your mindset in those 2 hours are also very important. And I would be also sharing the revision techniques, like how I used to study. So first thing was self-analysis, means analyzing different toppers, what they did, and then source mapping. I like credibility of source. This is very important, because if you see any source, because there are thousands of sources available, but how to check if your source is correct or not? So just, there is only one parameter, is PYQ parameter. Like if from your notes, if you are able to solve the PYQ, then your sources are correct, and if you are not able to solve PYQs from your sources, then your source is wrong. Like suppose if you take Lakshmikant example, then almost 95% of all the prelims PYQs you could get from Lakshmikant. So Lakshmikant is the right source. But if you consider other books from which PYQs, like if you see Upinder Singh, not Upinder Singh, but any other like very specific book from which PYQ could come, then the source is not credible. So you have to also check the credibility of source. Then again you have to, cycle of revision is very important. Like if you are reading something today, then you have to read it, like just get a glimpse of it the next day, like one day after it. Then you have to read the same thing after 7 days. Then you have to read the same thing after 1 month. And then again you have to read the same thing after 2 months. So whatever you read, you have to be careful that you have to keep the cycle of revision continuing, because the more your brain is familiar with it, and the more you like if you are going through it like with regular intervals, then it will be helps to recall and remember everything. And then again it is consistency. It is like no need to tell that consistency. I know it is very boring to study, because if someone tells me to, it is not about the first time. It is very enjoyable. You get to know about economy, you get to know polity. But reading the same thing 7 to 8 times, I know it is monotonous. It is very boring. What do you do it? There is no other option. Okay. And then again planning and very crystal clear planning. Like if you would ask me that my plan was to like in this week used to be very crystal clear, then after that it used to get blur, because if today is Monday, then I would be knowing that at Friday 6 o'clock I would be doing this. Means Wednesday at night 10 o'clock I would be reading that, and afterwards like 2 to 3 weeks I used to have the back of the mind that I would be doing one reading of that in that week. So very crystal clear planning should be there, and this was like broadly how I used to study and how I used to go about it. So now we'll come to mains. So I will be giving a disclaimer first. This was my first attempt. Then there is a subjective nature of mains. And then means I did not know awareness of correlation. There was no awareness of correlation between what answers I wrote and what marks I got, because if it would have been my second attempt, then I would have known that if I read such answer, then this is the minimum amount of marks which I would be getting. So there was no correlation. I would say first attempt is also that. Subjective nature means that if we see, just today I saw one mark sheet that guy had got in mains, he had 827 marks, and in interview he had 113 marks, and in essay he got very less marks. He had some 57 marks. So it is very subjective. Like if we see a guy who is getting like in total his mains is 857 marks, and in essay if he is getting only 57 marks, then that means UPSC's nature is very subjective. So you have to, while listening to me also, you have to be very careful and just take whatever think you are right, and don't believe in everything what I am saying. So this is the overall disclaimer. And then I think the one thing I find out mains is that in prelims you are given a standard books, you are given a standard set of books, and if you only read those books you will be able to clear prelims. But for mains you have to make your own notes. No coaching. If they say that we'll give you this note for GS2, read and answer the paper, you have to, for mains you have to make your own notes. Own notes in the sense that you have to compile your own notes from everywhere. Compile plus your own value addition should be there in your notes, and then you have to revise. So there was a set pattern which I used to follow for every notes, and it has to be theme based, theme wise. Because if you see mains ka notes, then mains ka notes, if you see syllabus of GS1 syllabus has history, society, then it has geography. So you have to make your notes be specific, and you have to make it very theme wise. And there used to be a set pattern of way of my notes making. Like, so firstly I used to see syllabus, then PYQs, then PYQs, then topper answer copies, then topper notes, then your own notes, and then you have to do continuous addition plus revision. Continuous addition should be a part of your notes making, and sometimes you can also like use your topper notes as your own notes. I'll show you like how I did it in GS3. So that was the pattern of like making your own notes, because if you see topper answer copies, you get a benchmark like what type of answers you have to write. And if you see topper note, because those are the notes from which the toppers had means written such answer and got such marks. So you have to be very careful and use all the resources which you get, and all this is freely available on the internet. Like proper answer copies are abundantly available, topper notes are available on Telegram. So this saves a lot of work, and if you follow this broad pattern, then you could make your own good notes. So before starting, I'll be just telling about essay. In essay I have got good marks. I think it is 123 marks, and if you see, one is very good because average is 90 to 100 marks. This time everyone has gotten in this range. So what I feel what helped me were my own examples. Like just when I started in 2022, I used OneNote, which is an application, and I used to store all my notes, anecdotes, examples, stories, ideas in that one place. Like I'll show you now. In OneNote, there are means I had done various section of OneNote, like from essay, ethics, history, economy, agriculture, environment, geography, society, women, social justice, health, education, governance, international relation, science and tech, defense and security, disaster management. And in that I'll show all of it later. If you see in stories, like all the anecdotes I had. So in that anecdotes, like this was I was reading my friend's essay. So in that there is that the Japanese used to do artificial earthquakes to avoid bigger earthquakes. So similarly, the culture of silence is endorsed, and citizens are not allowed to express their feelings. It might lead to greater earthquakes in future and cause instability. So this is such a wonderful example. And all the means it was like, if you see Ye Dil Mange More of Colonel Vikram Batra. So all those things, like if profit driven, short term gain, disconnect between, nowadays there is disconnect between what we know and what we do, and the best sign of intelligence is adaptability. And if you see then the story of Vasily Arko, I was reading, means I used to read Indian Express and regularly, and so in the story they got this story of Vasily Arko. I got to know that I could be using that in essay. So this was very vast and very useful. Like I had seen one WhatsApp status, so I put it in, like he asked an artist about then Michelangelo's, I think it is their sculpture and all. So 111 tells to para athletes, 111 tells to inspire. So you have to be careful, like whatever in around you, you have to be careful of your surroundings. If you're reading any newspaper, if you read any quotes in any public space, so you have to be careful that whatever you could use for prelims, for essay, you have to be very careful. Now this is story of a balloon. So all those stories, anecdotes, this Jataka tale about starving tigress, which is a very ultimate example of empathy. So empathy and compassion. So all those things which you could use, you have to keep it here. This was the Kane Williamson's example, like after losing the World Cup, he was still smiling. So all those things which you could use in essay, you have to just keep one compiled, need not necessary that you have to do it online. You could also do it online at your own place. So this thing. Then again, there was some good conclusions, like a pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity and optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty, and all those things. Like if like this was some standard that if this is Indian Express is the best way to predict future is to design it. The world is big and right past the next corner is a new station where new train stands waiting. So all these examples, plus if you see the this is from Narayan Murthy's book, like in the ultimate analysis, I still remember it, like here it is. In the ultimate analysis, all the we are temporary custodians of all the wealth we generate, whether it be financial, intellectual, emotional. The best use of all your wealth is to share it with those who are less fortunate. And there comes a time where we eat fruits from the trees we did not plant. So in our time, it is our sacred responsibility that we should also plant those trees and gardens and all those things. So you have to collect your own examples. So this was stories, and this were my ideas page. So in this ideas page, I had different sections. Like suppose if I am reading Sapiens book, so in that Sapiens book, I had saved all the important ideas, quotes. If this Sapiens book, then this is politics. So about politics, if there is any important while reading any newspaper, if I find something important, like if we see here, like politicians, like this is about how there is entry barrier in politics right now, and if democracy hinges on the balance between people as a collective and the individual, but in India's democratic life, the idea of the individual seldom carries weight. So all those things, ideas about Indian democracy. So I have made these different sections about life, about history. Like if we see about religion, then there is a human is born in every house, humanity is rare. But again, religion, there is duty based religion. Then about Swami Vivekananda, this is from Indian Express. So all these things comes very important. And so these I used to continuously add if I reading any book, if I am watching any YouTube. So all those, again, this is from newspaper about UCC. So all those things I used to continuously add. So this where I'll show you glimpse of whatever sections I made in my ideas. So there were politics, then it was economics, peace and tolerance, then it was India, then also miscellaneous quotes, then it was about Indian society, religion, history, life, education, atheism, sapiens. Then if you see if it is technology, then this is from one documentary, I think it is from the social dilemma documentary I was watching. So this is where the machine, the intelligence overcomes weakness, but if it overcomes our strength, then it would be very much challenging for us. Then all the standard quotes, like if you see, like there is the surveillance capitalism, then there is only two industries which call customers users, one is drugs and then there is software industry. So all those things you have to keep on adding, you have to keep on brainstorming. Then after technology we have environment, then again there was one book, freedoms, wisdom, sports, democracy, rationality and critical thinking, leadership, media. Then I had two sections of Gandhi because I read a lot of books about Gandhi. So these were about India in his dreams. Then here is plain living and high thinking, that should have be minimalist nature. Then we want Swaraj, not independence. So all those things come very important because I have felt it and I have noted it down. So while if you are doing your own, if you are taking out your own examples, then it becomes very easy to recall all those examples in those 2 hours. So this is how I went about essay. And for essay, anything about mains, I feel is that if you are doing mains, then even if you see mains answer writing or essay answer writing, if you writing essay writing, then the graph of it is very, like in the in the beginning it is very slow, and it is after some time then it begins. It's very exponential graph. Like beginning you won't be feeling any progress, but in this section, like this is time and practice, you won't be feeling any progress in this time. But if you in this time, if initial, let's say 10 to 12 essays, if you point out your own mistakes, if you analyze properly, if you improve on your mistake, don't make the same mistakes again and again, and if you read a lot of topper answer copies, like for essay, Vikram Grewal essays and all the other essays, like if you search over the essay toppers or good essay answer copies, so keep reading answer copies. And I think that reading answer copy is very important for mains. Answer copies of topper, बिकॉज वो क्या होता है, दिमाग में एक ढांचा बन जाता है कि देन वी गेट अ बेंचमार्क और स्टैंडर्ड. लाइक इफ यू आर रीडिंग टॉपर आंसर कॉपी properly day by day, then you get a benchmark, and you, while also writing your answers, you also get to means you also write those answers in that you try to write your own answers in how they have written them. And also analyzing topper answer copy, you have to remember that different toppers have different style of writing. If you see Aditya Srivastav, means I'll give you a very short comparison. Srivastav answer, very data and factual based. And if you see Ayan Jain, who got all India rank 16, then his answers were more number of points, very much points, very high number of points, and very generic points, yet he had some 870 marks. So you'll notice that very different toppers have very different ways of writing answers. So you have to figure out your own way, what is best for you, and how you could how you could optimally answer those answers, and realizing your strengths and weaknesses, key what way of answer writing is correct for you, then you have to adopt that method. So before that, but you have to analyze a lot of toppers, read a lot of answer copies, and then you can figure out like what is the best way for you to answer. So now that we have done about essay, so I'll do GS1. So if you see GS1, then broadly it is history, Indian history, then world history, then we have Indian society, then geography. If you see Indian history, you can answer the answers with your prelims knowledge, and here also you can answer the answer with your prelims knowledge. For world history, I read Vision IS, material on it, which is freely available on internet. Plus, I had read a long while back Ranjan Chakraborty's book, which my friend had history optional. He suggested me to read this book. So I read Ranjan Chakraborty's book and Vision IS's material. And for Indian society, like just I had made for essay, I had made for society also my OneNote, what I would call it, OneNote value additions, or my OneNote's notes. I had my OneNote notes, and this is broadly which I did for GS1. And I think that, so I'll show you my Indian society notes, because all those things is already covered, and the Indian society notes I'll show you. So this Indian society, I had done like Indian society, if you do by theme wise and proper pointers you have to pick out. Like in Indian society there is communalism, urbanization, regionalism, globalization. So in Indian society, if you see, this is caste problem. So caste problem, then there is So while I used to read everything, while I used to read newspaper, like if suppose like there is 120 suicides in higher education institute from 2014 to 2021, then there is this concept of modern slavery dimension. They used to from Visions Monthly magazine, dimensions of modern slavery. And again, this is Ambedkar's quote on just society is that, so I could use those examples in my answers. So it was constantly like if he was elderly Dalit man in Amethi beaten for refusing to pick up cow carcass. So all those things which you could use, you have to continuously add in society. And for society, you don't need to anything extra. It is about questions about our own society. So you don't have to do any extra things in society. And I used to like made again different section, like there was this communalism section, then urbanization, regionalism. In communalism, I had this standard quotes, like there was this the concept by Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad of Hubbul Watan Nisful Imam, half of Muslims faith is his patriotism. And again, if you see, there was this quote by Adriel Lord, like this is Gandhiji's, religions are different, road to same point, what does it matter that we take different roads so long that we reach the same goal or reality. So all these questions, then what is uniform civil code and all those riots which are happening, secularization, secularism. So all those things I used to read from here. And again, this Vision IS ka monthly material is there. So you have to make Indian society, you have to realize you have to make your own notes, and then only you could answer these questions well. So now I'll come to Indian and this Indian society notes are very overlapping, and it overlaps with your other syllabus. Like if you see agriculture and all, then it overlaps easily with those other portion and other parts of your different GS syllabuses. And again, if you see GS2, again you have to make theme wise notes, and for GS2 I used Atish Mathur, his theme wise notes. Means I kept his notes as a very basic, like very fundamental, like very one place where I could dump all the other things of this. And I think his course was Magna Carta. Means I did not do the course, but I got the PDF from the internet or from his own Telegram channel. His Atish Mathur theme wise notes, my own additions in it from Topper's notes, ARC. Again, one thing, after prelims and mains ka notes should be different. Mine it was, for some part it is different, for some it is exactly the same. Then for the welfare portion, this is for the governance. Then for welfare, and then I think it is international relation. International, for welfare I did PYQ's answers. Means I prepared answer from PYQ, and if you see especially this section of GS2, then there is very repetition in the type of questions which is asked. I'll show you that. And then this was Topper's notes. Directly I got 4 notes of different toppers, and then I just did IR from that. I'll show you point wise, like how were my governance notes, how were my welfare notes, and how were my international relation notes. So if we see, this is the first theme in the governance, which is historical underpinnings, evolution, feature, amendment, and basic structure. So this is the debate between Article 368 and fundamental rights, fundamental. So this is the different cases like Golaknath was a state of Punjab. Then there is 24th constitutional amendment, 25th constitutional amendment. Then it is the basic structure is the pinnacle of judicial creativity. It is called Balancing Act. Then again it is about positives and points of debate about the basic structure doctrine. Like if the like even they were basic structure, but still we have 104 constitutional amendments till now. Like the significance of basic structure. Then again, so the one thing I liked about Atish Mathur's notes is that he had theme wise made like very staple content on each and every theme. So I just used that as my core basic framework, and then I added my own notes on it. Like if you see here, it is about the EWS reservation. Then there is the second theme about federalism, functions and representation of that. Then what are the essential features of Indian federalism? Then what is the unitary features of it? Then acts which give central power to issue directions. Then again it is the deviations from federal character. Then legislative relations, financial relations, executive relations, nature of it. Then again we have asymmetrical, horizontal, vertical federalism. There is asymmetry, horizontal asymmetry, vertical asymmetry. So all the examples of that. Then again if you see, these are my own additions from, like if there was the New Delhi's whatever the conflict is going on between the Lieutenant Governor and the CM. So this was the conflict there. I added it from Vision's IS notes, like monthly notes. Like there is we have no national language, only official language. Then there is this cooperative federalism, competitive federalism, confrontation. What is cooperative federalism? Then like a standard notes. What does the constitution say about it? So it was very comprehensive. And again, this was the ARC notes. ARC notes was for only local governance and urban governance. Like there was very staple material which you could find. Like there was this principle of subsidiarity. I did ARC notes from Pavneet Singh's book, I think. Like he suggested some book and I read that. I am not able to recall that book's name. Like this is ARC local governance. Like if you see, there is subsidiarity principle, a principle that central authority should have subsidiary function performing only those tasks which cannot be performed at a local level. So this was the basic like structure of it. Then there was urban governance, local governance. Then if we see the judicial review and judicial amendment, then this was one quote, like the role of judiciary must be of an alarm clock, not timekeeper. N. Palkhiwala. This quote I remember I took from Anudip Durushetty's notes. Like he used it in one of his answers. So I took it notes and I also written that you have to use it because it is a very good quote. So judicial review, judicial amendment, legitimize government action, protect Indian constitution against encroachment. Example 42nd amendment. Then there is revoke the article 370. So all those things, like what is the need of judicial activism, then what is the difference between judicial review, judicial activism and judicial overreach, then its example. Then again all those things, it was important because it gave a very good context, gave a very good framework for me to again determining like because these were the themes on which the PYQs were asked. So I just use these themes and then again continue to like add on it. Like see if I done a lot of additions here also. Like if judicial amendment, social change, there is Navneet Singh Johar's case, then Posh case, then Husainera Khatun's like his BR, like he did PIL for the prisoners, their rights, then case Puttaswamy. So all these my additions were there, and these were broadly how I did for GS2. Like governance you have to do, they are very good notes. I'll be definitely sharing my notes on a Telegram channel, but this is how I did of GS2. Then afterwards I'll show you the welfare portion. Like if you see the syllabus and the syllabus between the international relations and where governance ends. So this second slot of welfare scheme policies for service sector. So if you see all those PYQs which are asked, they are very repetitive in nature and very theme wise. So if there is poverty is one theme, then there is technology in governance in one theme, e-governance is one thing, what are the issues of SC, STs, specifically national commissions, their issue. So very repetitive nature. So what I thought that in these welfare schemes, what I will do, I'll go all those PYQs and prepare my own standard answers on those PYQs, and that is how I made my welfare notes. So what I basically, how I did was that I went through each and every PYQ, and suppose this is of sorry for my handwriting, but it is of I think payment DBT, or how the DBT is helping in the digital funds transfer and on all that. So minimize corruption, eliminate wastage, facilitate reforms. So what kind of reforms will it facilitate? Now PM Asha, like, then there was a one theme of exclusion due to government welfare schemes. Then how does that exclusion exactly happens? Like reservation in government jobs, impact abilities, then targeted approach, stigmatization, regional imbalance, no decentralization. So all those themes I picked up, and then I like the why the welfare scheme generally fail. Then there is inclusion exclusion error. Then there is the again there the poor designing, poor design, lack of implementation. Then again it is we don't incentivize stakeholders. Like if you see in the case of Ayushman Bharat, there is no incentive to doctors. So all those things I searched on Google, I made my different answers. Like if we see, I used it in history, like life expectancy during 1947 was 32, but in 2024 it is 70. So all those things, you have to welfare part, you have to do it on your own. I will be shortly putting these notes also, but welfare part you have to do on your own. And for international relations, I directly use topper answer copies. I'll show you that. For IR, this was Animesh Pradhan's notes on civil daily. I used this as one basic place, and I used to dump all whatever I knew, like India's foreign policy. These were good notes, I found them good. Like he had like standard answer, introduction, challenges, solution, what should be done, and all those data. I'll show you the data. Like if we see that there is way forward, we have new areas to explore, Polynesia, Central Asia. So I used to keep there like India-China relations. Then he had this data, like we have a trade worth 136 billion, then we have deficit, then all those things, like they're fighting with us for UNSC and NSG's membership opposition. So I used his notes, and I used to directly revise from his notes. Then again I had a few notes of again 2-3 toppers. Like this was, I think, of Pururaj. This was IPS Sujal Jagga. I don't know who he is, but I used his notes. So these were his notes. Like he were standard answers, like Pakistan is an ally, we should never be friend, and India is a friend, we should never be ally. Growing multipolarity. So these are in mains you have to remember, you have to pick up those standard quotes or those wordings. That wordings becomes very important. I call them pickup lines. Like for history also I use the pickup lines, these quotes. Like if you see, it is very fancy quote. If you see in IR, principles and interests have to be balanced. Plus there are very like show you one fancy quote, like I used it. Here India and China should be partners of mutual success instead of adversaries of mutual attrition. So like this, India stands on its feet, thinks with its own mind, and pursues its own interests. So all these fancy things you have to use it in your answers. So there are 3 to 4. I will be shortly uploading them. GS3, what I did was, for economy, I directly picked up Shruti Sharma notes and added my notes and my data facts into it. Shruti Sharma notes, she was topper AR1, I think in 2021 or 2022 exam. So her notes. Agriculture also I used her notes. Agriculture Shruti Sharma notes, and few value additions from other standard sources. And then for science and tech, I did not do anything. And for environment, I referred to my prelims, whatever was there, because generally if you look at environment PYQ, then you could be easily able to solve them from the prelims. And science and tech, whatever question is, they are either very difficult, so there is very cost benefit of doing science and tech for means it is very less, so I chose not to do it. Agriculture I also use Shruti Sharma notes. Then there are two portions of, I think there is internal security and then we have disaster management. So for internal security I compiled from 2-3 toppers from, I think, Uma Harathi, and again plus 2-3 toppers, and then made my own notes. And from disaster management I did from my friend was in Waziram, so he sent me those 25 pages their class notes for disaster management, so I used them itself. So now I'll show you how I did economy, agriculture, like all the different notes of them. So this is Shruti Sharma notes, and Shruti Sharma means what I liked about her notes is that everything is comprehensive and covered. This is, suppose this is corporate governance, then they are given that trusteeship model of Gandhi followed in the spirit of Tata and Wipro, and again means there was comprehensive, then there was transport, everything was there, infrastructure, energy resources. Then again this is a privatization of railways is there, then the various committees of railway, then what should be government has taken steps. It was old but I still added my new data, like then there is ports are drivers of infrastructure, our Indian port share of India's trade 90% volume, 70% value. Then there is Harit Sagar scheme, so I'll be uploading them. I use them as my basic, and then I again added my whatever was addition, like if you see, then here it is about the inland transport, it is from vision, so I added what are the steps taken, like there is RoPAF, I think ferry scheme, then Jal Marga Vikas project. So all those things does come handy, and you can use directly their own notes. Agriculture also I did the same. Agriculture was her notes, and then at the end I added from Mrunal's notes. Mrunal's agriculture handout is there, it is of 80 pages. Then I added from his note, like there is AgriStack ka policy, then again there is insurance, I think agri research, and the supply chain issues. And very little I added insurance, then there is farm bills, and again it was overall a basic was that only, and then I again added this was from Uma Harathi's notes, I think her notes, then about different, like this is again from Ronal. So I used to compile my own notes, add it there, and this was again a very different topper, I think he was some Rahul Srivastav, I think his notes I added here. Then again this is from Indian Express, this is again from Uma Harathi. So different toppers notes I compiled, I used given my own inputs. So this is how my GS3 notes were there. This was agriculture notes. And one more thing for economy I did was, this was what my friend did, the same friend with whom I was preparing. So what he did was, I'll show you. Suppose this is one theme of FDI. So he had done was, what he do, he took all the PYQs which were asked on FDI, then prepare a proper introduction, like we could introduce with facts, like in 70 billion FDI came, services sector added more. Then there is this intro, like staple intro, FDI inflows in various sectors led to growth in technology and all. Then the issues here is, then there are these issues, like there are these 7 to 8 issues. Then what are the solutions, steps taken, what could be the solutions, what could be the recommendations. Like here means under my own notes I had like this foreign facilitation portal investment, and there is a project monitoring group for faster clearance of projects. So again, then ease of doing business, you can use a proper conclusion was there. So this is some 30 pages PDF, and again see if the inclusive growth ka all the PYQs are there here. Inclusive growth PYQ is there, and then here is proper intro, then there is this dimensions of economic dimension, political dimension, all the social dimensions of it, insurance and all. Then what are the components and what are the solutions. So this is how you generally make mains notes. And then for disaster management, this is the Vision IS class notes. I think for disaster nothing much is needed, only if you do the basic or the basic bare requirement, like what is the disaster management, what is the Disaster Management Act, and there is India's policy about how to NDMA guidelines and all, and what should be the preventive measures for landslides and all, if there is the MPRR, mitigation, preparedness, response and rescue, and all those things, very basic. I'll be also sharing this. So this is for disaster management. And also at the end I had added from the forest fires, was a very hot topic that time, so I added forest fires and I think this is, yes, forest fires and normal building fires, urban fire safety. So that was added, and again this was from very little things from everywhere else. So this was disaster management notes. And for internal security I also show them. Internal security also same, like if there is topic, there is cyber crime, then I have my standard introduction, second most targeted country in number of attacks, that is there. Then different examples of cyber attack, like in Oil India's critical infrastructure in Assam, then there is AISM ransomware, then Kundan Kalam. Then what are the challenges, like if you see, then the diffusing tangible threats is there, low cost of mounting attack, then there is imported dependence on technology, so all those challenges are there. Then there is legal ways, national cyber, then there are this again I wrote challenges. Then what are the solution measures needed, then there is Gulshan Rai and Inderjit Rao committee, then we need cyber commands, we need proper auditing. So all those, this was compiled from 2-3 toppers and I just put it in one place. Then there is again extremism, then factors for all the land related problems, then there is socio-economic backwardness, then there is the example 2% of households in Dantewada have 2% households have clean water, then 38% of tribal women are underweight. So all those things. Then again this DESG, I think DGSG, development deficit, governance deficit, social deficit, and Jal Jangal Zameen issues. So all those things you have one place. Then again this is the red corridor and all those. So you have to be very crisp in dealing with this. And again if you see, so this is about GS3. Now I will come to GS4. So GS4 is very important because I think it in my rank also GS3 played a very important role. GS4, sorry, I got 120 marks, which are good marks kind of. So GS3 120 marks, and I feel that GS4 I did was, my mains was Red Book of Ethics of Forum IS. What I did was only took introduction, fact, whereas dimensions from this, taken out intro, facts, dimensions from it, and then brainstorming on PYQs, and then answer writing, extensive answer writing of ethics. So from Red Book what I did was took intro, facts, dimensions, formed them a core of my it, and then again added my own things. So I will show you that in a short while. Brainstorming of PYQ is very important because ethics, there are what I consider in answer writing, there are 4 different types of answer writing. I'll cover it later, and I'll show you my ethics notes again, as there are 2 parts to it. So if this is forum as Red Book of values, so they have given the intro definition of values, like what should be short, and there is inculcation, factors that play a role in inculcating values. So that I have copied on family, education and all that. And along with that, if we see here, all those their headers, pointers, all the main things I have copied. Like if we see, ethics is like electricity, it cannot be seen or sensed, but it has an impact. It cannot be seen or sensed, but it is all around us, having great impact. So all these things, like all the basic framework or structure, like if again there are the pointers of attitude is there, then the components of attitude, cognition, affective behavior, I think. Then there is factors of attitude, what shapes our attitude, attitude consistency, attitude role on behavior, attitude strength, attitude consistency. Then again, I think it was public ethics in public life, ethics in private life. So all those and all these notes were based on the themes of GS4. So if you make this theme wise notes and if you add your own examples, like if you see here integrity is there, then I have written this TN session example, means I'll show you my own examples later. Like if you see reasons of declining integrity, so all those, if you from what you try to do, again this objectivity, then again examples of objectivity, RBI's monetary policy, Dr. Rajendra Bharud's corona time oxygen production, like he did a very good job in Nandurbar. Objectivity, merit based, all the definition, examples, and how does it help in it, that was there. And again, what was the main thing was that value addition and my own notes, I'll show you that. Like this was my value addition. If you see integrity, then integrity example of Lal Bahadur Shastri took moral responsibility or Ariyalur rail accident. Then there was IS Harsh Mandir. Then M Vishweshwarya, he bought 2 sets of candles, one for public money and one for office work. Then there is IS Satyendra Dubey. Then there is again TN Seshan. Then there is APJ Abdul Kalam's example. Singapore PM receives 1.6 million salary. All those things, all my own value addition about proper example. Like again, if we see the proper examples of IS S Somvanshi, IS Prashant Nair, Yoappa, then again IS Saurabh Kumar, his lunch with collector, there's a policy. Then again IS Himanshu Nagpal. Then again various quotes, innovations. Then here there were like IS Divya Ranjan learned tribal language to interact with them. Armstrong Palme, we all know about him, 100-kilometer road he constructed without official help. And again all these example, P. Narhari, then IS Srinivasan, then again Prashant Nair, Parmeshwar Iyer, he was secretary and he did manual scavenging, R.E. Sridharan, Metro Man. Then all these more examples you collect, the more it is helpful. And the way I collected was this example was that I had watched a YouTube video, I think of she was 2023 second rank. And again see in GS4, this was all my, I used to read case studies, and there was one topper called Shreya. So her analysis of case studies. So her Shreya, so she wrote proper solution wise answers to various different case studies like this. So it gave me a basic framework of how my answer should be there. And again I read a lot of answer copies for ethics, like from Aditya Srivastav, then Medanand, then Ayan Jain, means all the people who have scored very good marks. I read all those answer copies. And again see, this is the red book and her quotes. See, means this is Shreya's quotes. I had also copied few from here also. So her staple answers. And again one more helpful thing which I found was Shruti Sharma's answers. So this is Shruti Sharma's answers and her notes on ethics. So I took a lot of examples from there. These are the standard answers, like here it is probity is essential condition for good governance, then the example, then whatever example points which I could find relevant, I copied them and then I used them in my answers. Then again she had her own compilation of this ethics quotes. Like I remember I wrote this: India has been a civilization rather than a territorial entity, more metaphysical than geographic. Means multiplicity is foundation to this idea. Means I remember I used this in my GS4 answers. So I extracted whatever I found good from her notes and added them into mine. So this is what you have to do basically for GS4. And GS4 again, what and for case studies, I think is that what you need to do. There are again two different in GS4. There is one theory part. Those 30 questions you have to answer them by brainstorming, looking at topper answer copies, forming your own answers. Like while you're brainstorming, you have to take 10 to 15 minutes to answer that question. And then again we have this case studies. So this, like, see, if this is the poem, if I used to like this poem, if by Rudyard Kipling, then Invictus. Then this is various Gandhi's anecdotes which I could use in ethics. I will be sharing this on my Telegram channel. So courage of conviction and tolerance. I'll show you the case studies part. So case studies, what I did was I found those patterns of how different toppers answer their questions, and I used to write my answers, and then see if this is case studies, then I knew that I read Vishaka Yadav's answers. Then he had this stakeholder approach. Then there is dimension should always be phrased as choice between two rights, never right and wrong. So all this I found from my own analysis from her answers. I flew from Shreya Shree's answers, and while I added that, while I used to write my case studies and then I analyzed them, and I also used to hear a lot of like GS4 previous year paper analysis on YouTube. Like in them, I understand you have to identify the key issue in case study, identify the key dynamics. Then what are the standard like ethical dilemmas in which you could use. Then again, the various different innovative ways of answer writing I'll show you in case study specifically. Like you see, innovative ways by mean like cost benefit analysis. If he does yes, then we'll do. If not, then this. Then again, it is the priority. Like first, this is Shruti Sharma and Aditya Srivastav style of writing. Like major priorities. First priority is prevent violation of fundamental rights. Second, uphold creativeness, and third, systematic reforms like short-term, long-term reforms, mid-term reforms. And again, there was this stepping in their shoes. Like if they say the what would you do if you were in their position. So I begin the day stepping in their shoes. I would realize that. So this proper examples. Like this is the flow chart. Like this is of Animesh Pradhan answer. So I got it from. Then again, this pattern of priorities, writing priorities. Then again, I justification. You have to write justification. You don't have to miss the big picture. Then you have to rectify the wrong, whatever wrong is been done. Then again, again I used to make this candle. Like I think it is from, I am not able to recall her name. Yes, for Gauri Singhal, I think. She is heir to of 2022 attempt. So she had written candles in her answer, like guiding light. I used to make those candles and all those things. Like I used to, before I start my answer, I used to write this is my vision for solving these answers. See, like before beginning my answer, like this would be my vision to solve this. Technology should be a guide, not a dictator. Like I think the Shruti Dabba's answer, I took it from her way of writing. So you have to read many topper answer copies and determine your own way of solving all the case studies. So now we have been done with GS4, and I'll be in a short manner I'll be discussing the overall answer writing. Answer writing. For answer writing, I had joined Forum IS MGP, which is a test series for mains, and you have to scan your copies and they give your checked answer copies back to you online. So Forum IS is MGP. I had doing this MGP from June 2023 to December 2023. So basically MGP is like for 1.5 months. They will cover one GS1 suppose they are covering, and each week they have sectional answer, sectional. Each week they have this their sectional test. So from June to December 2023, this helped me very much. As for each week, like my notes for each week, my notes of the topic were prepared, and I used to also write those answers. So I have been giving MGP very consistently, and that helped me very much. And with regard to checking, I don't think that their checking was that much satisfactory. What I found that the best checker is you yourself. And how you will know that? by reading different answer copies. And because what I find is that suppose you are giving a answer and suppose you have 20 questions, and suppose for the last 5 questions you are getting only 5 minutes to answer each question, then what happens is that the examiner doesn't know that you are getting very less time, but he'll say that you could have written this and that, but you yourself know that to write these 5 questions you have gotten very little time, but the examiner doesn't know that there is this wall between you. So you know best, and suppose you are for one question you write that in 15-20 minutes, you know that, but the examiner doesn't know that. He'll say that very good answer written, but if you would have given 7 to 8 minutes to write the same answer, then that answer wouldn't be that good. So the best checker is you yourself, and also if you have some friends who could write the answer with you, it would be helpful. I had a friend with I wrote this test series, so which became very useful for me. And now, as I had mentioned earlier, that the graph is very slow. Everybody who writes answers initially in very disgusting answer we write, and then with time we improve our answers. So, and again, topper answer copy plays a very important role. Topper answer copies are very important. Topper answer copies in analyzing and in setting a benchmark of how to write your own answers. So that is about it. And again, you have to write timed answer copies, and it is very boring, but you have to do it. And between prelims and mains, I given two full length tests. It was because before my prelims I had already attempted, like I had already given a lot of tests. So between I had that already my background, because I did it before, so I did not think that it would be important to give that much time again. So I gave only two full length tests between that. And you have to remember the time between prelims and mains. Between prelims and mains, you have 80 days, and between that you have to do only two things: revising plus answer writing. So your mains syllabus should be over before prelims only. So this before prelims only you have to do your mains everything notes. So you have to complete in 80 days. You should be only focusing on revision and answer writing and some value addition. So this is about it. And now the last thing which I will be talking about is mains exam temperament. So what happens is mains exam is that you have to write the exam for I think 5 days. And if you see my marks, my marks is very above average in every subject. If you see, like I have not scored very poorly or not scored very high marks except 2 or 3 subjects. So what was it? Because you have to be consistent in every paper, consistent and above average. Consistent and above average in every paper. And you have to don't give hope, like never give up. So what happens is that means my GS 1 and 2 paper went very poorly. I completed only 19 questions from it. 19 out of 20 questions I completed from GS 1 and 2. So I felt a lot of bad after giving GS 2, but I thought that now I have GS 3 and GS 4 paper remaining. I thought that giving my best in GS3 and GS4. So I did not give hope and I attempted 20 questions, 20 means all the questions, and this paper went as per my expectations, and this paper GS4 also went properly. So you don't have to give hope and never give up, and it from every stage, from prelims also you don't have to give up, like till the 100 question you solve. And also in GS4 you have to don't give up, because temperament is very important, and you have to remember you have to be accountable for those 3 hours and 20 questions, and you have to focus on the process. You have to focus on the process, and you have to be only accountable for those. And after the paper, you don't have to be quite burden yourself that paper went not as per your satisfaction. So now I'll be talking about interview. Interview I scored 195. And I think it is a good score, and one thing which helped me was my attitude is very I would say bindas. Means I was not afraid on the day of interview, like facing the panel and answering the questions. So that really helped me. And also what helped me in overall my process, very important thing which helped me, like it is apart from like a very different aspect of how I live, like the what has shaped my attitude is reading books. Like I did not used to like read to books earlier, but since especially 2020 I have read some 100, I think 120 books I have read. So that really helped me in shaping my attitude, and to also because it is a long procedure marathon, so to keep my hopes up and to put in consistently and to get the discipline and to get a very good what to say, how to live your life, a very good direction it gives reading books. And that helped me in interview, in shaping my attitude, in facing the questions and keeping a calm and composed temperament during it. So this was about my interview, and in a short way I'll also in 10 minutes, in the last 10 minutes I'll discuss about my maths optional. So maths optional, I liked maths and I thought that it is very high risk high reward. It is very high risk high reward optional, and I was aiming for the reward. I did not score properly. I got some, it is decent. I got 282 marks. Maybe it is obviously above average, but I think I made a lot of silly mistakes. My correct attempt in paper 1, my correct attempt was around 200 correct attempt, and in paper 2 my correct attempt was around 220, and this got converted into 130 marks, and this got converted into 152 marks. So this addition is 282. And maths optional, I would begin by how I started preparing. And in my graduation was optional, so few the pure research subjects like modern algebra and those were covered by that. And I thought of, because I did not focus much on maths optional in my graduation, so what I think I did, join IMS coaching. I paid 66,000 for that, and their notes are very good. But after watching 3 lectures of mine, I did online. After watching 3 lectures, I found out that कि ये सर से तो नहीं होगा, क्योंकि he, according to him, he would be taking 1.5 years to complete that. And even in those lectures, it was like means he used to cover easy topics, and most of the time his classes are off because sir has his own because the light was not there. There was server issue, there was the site issue, and all those things. So I did not find that properly, because I had to cover my optional in 4 to 5 months, and sir was going to take almost more than 1 year. So I decided, I used IMS notes. IMS notes I used, and I completed my optional on my own by reading them in 4 months. I took help from Kanish Kataria notes. Like I based my notes on the way Kanish Kataria made his notes. And again join Aryabhatta Ashram test series. Aryabhatta Ashram test series, and in that test series the tests were tough, but sir helped me in giving PYQs. Like what he did was, he separated different PYQs based on the themes. Like if in linear algebra there is on topic, and he extracted from IFS and IS exams and the UPSC CSE and IFOS exams. He took out all the supposing linear algebra. If there is modern algebra, and in modern algebra there is groups, and so he listed out all the 30 PYQs from IS and IFOS. So all the practice sums I had was like this. I used to theme wise I used to practice my optional questions, and mostly if you see maths optional, it is very repetitive in nature. Questions get repeated, so there is no need to solve the practice question from any other reference book. Even if you solve a lot of PYQs, right? I solved PYQs from 1978. So if you solve all those PYQs from that much earlier, you get a lot of number of questions, and as the numbers get repeated, it is always beneficial to solve the PYQs and get the familiarity of those questions. And because in PYQs there are various types of questions, and you get those questions right if you are able to only solve them earlier. Maths optional, the thing is that if any questions comes exactly new, a very new type of question comes, then it is very difficult to solve that questions in that 3 hours. But if if you have earlier done the sum, then you know that the method to solve the questions, and just by looking the question, you know, okay, this is the method which I'll be solving the question in. So you get that idea to how to solve the questions. And this is how means IMS notes. I'll tell you the process. IMS notes, then for physics topics, Mathocrat YouTube channel. For physics topic, Mathocrat YouTube channel. Then again G20 Google Drive. There is also Telegram channel, which is G20 Google Drive is very important, because there you will find PYQs, there you find every source material of maths optional, physics Mathocrat YouTube channel, and then the PYQs as practice problems. So this is broadly how I did my maths optional. I'll be surely uploading my notes on my Telegram channel. And at the end I would be able to tell you, because means the reason why I did this strategy session is that this was my age right now is 22 years of age, and this was my first attempt. And the way I think I strategized it, because I see a lot many people giving like a more number of attempts and still not be able to clear it. So I feel that the way I analyzed all the things, and the way means along with my friends, I did a complete, it was very strategized, it was very planned, and it was a very fixed process or a method of approaching towards the optimum way of doing any part of the syllabus and not leaving any stone unturned and giving my 100%. So I think my way or my strategy would certainly help you, and surely I'll be uploading whatever notes I've used on my Telegram channel, and the link of my Telegram channel would be in the comment section. And also if you have any individual doubts, then you can reach out to me on the social media. So I'll be certainly thank you for listening till the end, and I'll certainly thank for my friend Kiran Nimbore sir, if I am shooting in his studio right now. From his YouTube channel is there, Vastav Katta. So I'll certainly thank him for giving the space and time for shooting this video, and all the best for your journey. And if you need any help from me, certainly you can reach out to me, and thank you very much.